After speaking with so many men and women, I have found that a lot of people fall into this trap. Whether you're trying to lose weight or you're trying to be healthier, you need to stay away from restaurants. And notice, I didn't say fast foods because you already know that fast foods are bad for you and you know that processed food is going to ruin your fitness goals as well as your health goals. However, restaurant food is really misleading because you might be getting something that should be healthy, like a steak, but in reality, it's not healthy because the steak you get from restaurants is not the same steak that you would get at home. Let me explain. The steak that you would cook at home, you would have 100% control over it. You will know exactly the quality of that meat, as well as you will be using animal fats to cook that steak. So, butter, ghee, lard, beef tallow. On top of that, you will be using healthy salts and spices. And if you want some sauces, you can make your own with your own ingredients. So you will not have anything added that you wouldn't want with your steak. Now, what about steaks from restaurants? Keep in mind that restaurants are businesses. They want to produce at the lowest cost a product that customers will be willing to buy. So they're not going to use the ingredients that are going to be the healthiest for you. They will be using ingredients that are the cheapest as well as ingredients that will make the food taste good. Here's what you need to understand. Restaurants will not be using healthy animal fats to cook your food because that's expensive. They will be cooking your food in seed oils, which are cheaper. Now, those same seed oils have been proven numerous times by independent researchers, which, by the way, were not funded or financed by the food industry. And those same researchers have proven and concluded that seed oils causes inflammation, it causes to gain weight, it causes cancer, and on top of that, it causes strokes and heart attacks. But hey, everyone tells you that cholesterol causes heart attacks and strokes. Pathetic. They even made a study in a retirement home where there were two groups who were served the same exact food, where the only difference was the type of oil used to cook that food. So one group, their food was cooked in seed oils, like vegetable oil. I know vegetable oil sounds really healthy, but it's not. It's a seed oil. The other group, their food was cooked in animal fats. So ghee, butter, lard, beef tallow. And guess who lived longer? And guess who died sooner? The group who had the food cooked in animal fats, they lived longer. The group that had their food cooked in seed oils, they died sooner. What does that tell you? Okay, so what's the next problem with restaurant food? Sauces. They will be adding sauces to every single thing because their goal is to make the food taste good. They want you to come back and to remember that food. And the only way to do that is just to add sauces to everything. Even if you get steak or you get meat, it doesn't matter. They will be putting that sauce on everything. Now, the problem is that they're not going to be making their own sauces. Of course not. Those restaurants will buy their sauce from somebody else, probably the food industries, which have our health as a priority, right? And that's a problem because those sauces, because they're commercialized and everything, well, they're going to contain emulsifiers, which are going to destroy your gut microbiome. By the way, emulsifiers, if you didn't know, this is the thing that prevents components that are from oil and components of water to separate in a mixture. So, for example, if you eat Nutella, I hope you don't eat Nutella, but if you still do, you know when the Nutella stays too long on your cabinet and there's like a separation of liquid, there's two of them and you have to mix it? That's what happens. Now they add emulsifiers so that doesn't happen and they add it to everything. They add it to sauces, to ice cream, and a bunch of other foods. So you got to be really careful. Now there's another problem. Those sauces, which are supposed to make the food taste good, those sauces need to taste good as well. So of course they're going to add a bunch of chemicals to it. Chemicals that are not good for you, chemicals that will disrupt your hormones. But those chemicals make the sauce taste good. And they're gonna add preservatives because it's heavily commercialized, so it needs to stay preserved and not go bad within a week. So there are gonna be a bunch of chemicals added to those sauces, and then restaurants use that sauce on your steak. You see the problem? Now, the other problem with restaurant food, including the steaks and everything you get in restaurants, is the salts. Because they're not going to be using healthy salts. They're going to be using table salt, which you might already know that it's highly processed, and they're adding a bunch of other ingredients that you might not want in your salt. I challenge you to just go and look at your table salt. Go look at the package and look at the ingredients. You will be surprised to see that salt is not only the ingredients. You have other things added that you might not want to have because those things can cause a bunch of health problems. A lot of doctors will point to researchers telling that salt is the worst thing for you, salt is bad for you. I have a question for you. What type of salt do you think they use in those researches? They use table salt. They didn't use the healthy salt. They didn't use pink salt. They didn't use sea salt. They used table salt. The ones that is, again, processed and commercialized. And of course, you're going to have problems if you eat that type of salt. And they do this with everything. They tell you that red meat is dangerous for you because of research. Obviously, if you cook your meat and seedles with a Teflon pan, of course you're gonna die sooner. It was never about the red meat. It has everything to do with how you cook the red meat and with what you cook the red meat. Anyways, I got off topic, but I just want you to be careful and remember that something that should be healthy, something that should make you lose fat, can actually have the opposite effect if you get it from restaurants because of all the reasons that I mentioned. Now, if you still want to eat in restaurants, you can try and ask the waiter, politely of course, if they can use animal fats to cook your food instead of seed oils. Maybe ask them to not use any sauces or ask them what are the ingredients in the sauces. So we can always see if the restaurant can accommodate. But if you want to be 100% certain that your food is healthy, well, just cook it at home. You have 100% control over it. The main lesson here is if something looks or is advertised as healthy or usually is healthy, in certain situation it might not be, just like in the case of restaurants. So just make sure to always verify. If you truly care about your health, it's better to be safe than sorry. Alright, I will see you in the next video.